Welcome to the most imperfectly perfect live conversation between two people who might be a bit like you in just the different challenges that we all face with how we show up in the world in all the different areas, whether it's online or in real life. And ironically, although we are here to talk about being imperfect, right before we went live, I tidied up the area behind me and folded the blankets.
You've got to still have standards though, right?
I mean, there's something to be said for having some standards and feeling good in your space. I am definitely hello, I'm Nicole Cramer. This is Claire, and we are here together because we're friends, we're exactly what to say guides, and we love riffing on things that are really important and relevant in the world of business and entrepreneurship. And we thought, what a great conversation to have around visibility, imperfection, and give Claire a chance to get in the hot seat with a live video and a live conversation around social media.
My very first LinkedIn Live. So hopefully it's actually on LinkedIn Live right now. Hello, everybody. I would never even know if anyone's watching.
Yeah, if you're here with us, comment, because we can see the comments. We are on StreamYard, so we're able to see who is here with us. So if you're here, say hello. And as we're chatting, if you stick around for the conversation, get in the conversation with us. Join us in the chat. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are, because I think everybody has a level of visibility that it feels like an edge, and everybody has a level of how imperfect can I be and still be okay. Like I said, I cleaned up the blankets, and Claire's like, well, that's kind of what our topic is about. Did you really need to clean up the blankets? I'm like, probably not. Probably would have been much more appropriate to leave them there. But yeah, standards are.
Well, I have a confession, and that is, well, it's not a confession that I've been to the gym today, but the confession is that I straightened my hair again, ready for this, so that I was looking half decent. And I think that's fine. Half decent is enough.
Half
showing
decent?
Up.
Yes.
You know,
I don't even know if I'm half, but I did comb my hair.
Good.
I've been on the last 2 days. Today was like a catch-up day for me. And I was like, you know what? We're talking about visibility and imperfection. So that's how I'm going to show up. And here
I think that's the thing. Like, how many people who have so much knowledge, value, insight, opinions, important things to share with the world, and what stopped them is something like, oh, but it's the lighting's not very good, or I just don't feel great today, or I don't know if I want to show up live. I can't work the tech, it seems too complicated. Yeah. Or what if nobody watches, or all those. They're like so many more excuses that we can give ourselves that say this needs to be perfect or it's not worthwhile. And what you're doing is you're depriving people of the thing that you can do to help them. Like, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
You're really depriving them of the relatability to you.
Yeah.
Because they're all dealing with some level of the same thing. And, ever since I was a high school teacher, I've always, one of my teacher friends shared this quote with me once, and it was just so profound. And I say it all the time. You either have the life you want, or you have the list of reasons why not. And to your point, Claire, all those reasons of like, well, the lighting needs to be better, my hair needs to be done, or I didn't do my makeup today, or whatever, the list that you've got, the list of why you didn't show up in the world the way you wanted to show up, whether that's for your business or you wanted to tell a story about you and your family on vacation, or wherever you want to show up and however you want to show up. You didn't let yourself do it because you had a list of very justifiable, practical, pragmatic reasons that were very easy to allow you to talk yourself out of the very thing you wanted to do, which was the thought that God put in your head that wanted you to share with the world. And you went, maybe tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a really good idea and then very quickly talk to yourself out of it?
Yes, every day in some capacity. It's that edge.
Mm-hmm. And like, you could have just hit live.
Yeah. I just told this story this morning, actually, Claire. I was talking to somebody in a conversation about kind of the same thing along these lines. And it took me back to a time in 2018 where I had a chance to meet Mel Robbins, but it started like this. It started because I read her book. I fell in love with her book. I really was like, oh my God, this is changing my life. I need to meet this woman. Somebody told me about a contest that you could win VIP tickets to go see her at this event that she was doing in Salt Lake City. It was with like Jay Shetty and Lewis Howes and Brendan Burchard, like all these big names, and really great, like powerful conference called Powerful You.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel was going to be one of the signature people. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to enter that contest. This was in 2018. I definitely was not going live very often in 2018. It was like the most intimidating thing in the world for me. Now I'm like, oh, I don't care. Let's jump on. But well, that, you know what? That's a lie. Let me not lie in front of everyone. That's a lie.
Okay.
It still takes something every single time I go live. It's easier when I do it with somebody, like you and I were just casually chatting beforehand. It's like, oh, let's go live. But there's not a day that goes by, even as often as I go live and I, show up on social media, that I don't have some little edge of like, it would be more comfortable to talk myself out of it. Every time, even if I already know for sure I'm doing it, even there's always that, like, it would be more comfortable to not. It really would. But anyway, it's a lot easier for me nowadays than it was back in 2018. And the thing you had to do in order to enter the contest to win these tickets to go see, and it wasn't just to go see Mel. It wasn't like I was going to get to meet her. It was just a VIP ticket to be in the room.
Yeah.
So you have to go live every day for 5 days. That was the contest entry. And so it's Monday through Friday, and go live on Instagram, tag the event in your story, and say why you want to meet whoever is going to be at the conference. Now for me, that was Mel Robbins. So I get everything set up. Like I get my lighting set up. I don't have like a setup at this point in my life. I was a health coach. I wasn't practicing much of anything, and I did not have a studio, right? So I get it all set up perfectly, or so I think. And right before I hit go live, Cassie, who's back there taking a nap, walks right in front of me as I hit live, and she knocks over the lighting, she knocks over the phone, and everything just kind of like falls apart, like ruins in the moment, and I'm like, and of course I pick everything up because it's live, and I'm like, oh my God. And then Cassie sits there with me for the rest of the live video. Well, I didn't know it at the time, but the woman who was choosing the winners commented on, I didn't know she was the one that was choosing, but she commented on it, and she said, oh my gosh, I have a dog that looks just like her. She reminds me of my dog. That's so cute. Like, I can't believe she messed it up. Good luck in the contest. And then she DM'd me something that alluded to, like, let me know that, she loved my dog and was the contest person or whatever. So every rest of the week, every day that I went live, I was like, Cassie's sitting right next to me. I'm like, I'm putting her in the video now. And by Friday, they had chosen me as the contest winner, and I won the VIP tickets to go meet, or to go see Mel. And I ended up meeting her because then I sent her a DM. This is back when Mel had like 200,000 followers. I still thought it was her team that I was always communicating with. Mel and I were chatting all the time, because when I actually met her, that's a whole nother story. But when I actually met her by accident, it's never an accident. It was like 6 a.m. and she was on the stage, and I had kind of snuck in. Again, that's a whole nother story. But she jumped. She was like, oh my gosh, look at that. The early bird gets the worm, because she saw me standing there, and she came over, and she's like, I can't believe you got bumped up to first class and you won these tickets to be here. And I was like, how do you know that? Like, because you and I are friends. We chat on Instagram all the time. And I was like jaw on the floor. I'm like, that's you? And it was all those times. So to me, that's like, I like to look back and go, okay, where was some piece of imperfection in my life that led to one of the most profound stories and experiences that I had?
What a case study. Like, I'd love to say, oh yeah, I've got something like that. I've got a story to share that's along those lines. And honestly, I'm finding it hard to think of one that's like that just captures it so very well, and how that was actually your advantage. Imperfection was your advantage.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, if we all knew that sooner.
Yeah, it's the very thing that created the, like, had that not happened, it wouldn't have put me on the map. It wouldn't have put me in a position with I wouldn't have put Cassie in it, because I thought it needed to be this like very curated, very polished, like me, like that's so not me anyways. Like, what the hell are we talking about? And it would have not, who knows how it would have worked out differently. Yeah. I just know from the very moment somebody told me that there was a contest that I was going to win. I thought I'd blown it on that first day, but I can think of plenty of them. There was a time when I was at Airmark, and I had $6,000 coffee brewer that I was very new to the company. And I didn't want to make mistakes that might put me on the map. And I had a $6,000 coffee brewer that I measured incorrectly for the client. And so we couldn't install it. And so my district manager came to me. He's like, you got a piece of equipment you better find a home for. And I was like, I will. And I go to the next company that I try to, that I've sold this brewer to, right? They're like, we want the brewer too. I'm like, great. So we go to install it. I didn't measure that one either. These were fully my mistakes. Like all I had to do was take the measuring tape and measure. I did not. I just kind of eyeballed it. I thought I was good. And it turns out I was not. So the install tech comes out. He's like, did you measure? And I'm like, no. He's like, you're strike two. And I'm like, oh my God. And this is over like a couple of weeks period of time. So now again, I've got this coffee brewer. I'm like, I better find it. Like it took us probably 5 to 6 weeks to get these delivered. And then it's just inventory. It's capital sitting on a shelf that's not doing anything. Right. So I'm like, I better find it. So the following week, I have a meeting with a woman and she said, now mind you, it would normally take 6 weeks to get a coffee brewer like that in. She said, I really want to do this. And I've got some meetings I've had with your competitors and they told me that they could do it very quickly, but I want to work with you. How soon could you get this brewer here? And I looked at her and I was like, if I could get it here in 3 days, are you ready to move forward? She said, yep. The only reason I had that coffee brewer is because I messed up. Wow. And that account turned into a multi-million-dollar account and created all kinds of great opportunities for me. Yeah. But it came from me screwing up royally.
How bad are you that you messed up, right?
I mean, it was kind of like, am I going to get fired? I don't know. Like, what do I do if I measured wrong? And like, you know, because it's kind of.
Did that make you less fearful of messing up in the future? Like, did you start to kind of almost get used to the fact that sometimes that's okay and that it might well turn out way better than you think?
I don't know that getting comfortable with messing up would ever be what I called it. I think it maybe gives me hope that like there's a reason this is happening. Like that there's something else that this is meant to create in my world. And I can't see it for myself, but it needed to happen this way for it to play out the way that it needs to. Like, you know, I have this thing I've been saying recently. I'm like, it's very, do I want to say cliche or popular? Both. To say we don't need to know the hows, right? You just need to know the why and the what. Like, what is it that you want to do and why do you want to do it? Don't worry about the hows. And you know what I was thinking the other day? You know why that's so important that we don't worry about the hows is you wouldn't do the thing if you knew what the hows looked like in a lot of the cases.
Yeah. It's what they talk about in manifesting is if you start thinking about the how,
you won't do it.
Then yeah.
You won't do it. Because if I knew all the shit that needed to happen to do some of the things that I've done in my life, I would have said no.
Yep.
I would have went the other direction.
And then you'd have gone, well, you know, now that I know how, maybe I need to like polish up my skills here, and maybe I need to read this book or do this course or watch these YouTube videos. And, you know, before I show up online, you know, I want to watch 1,000 videos on how to produce the perfect YouTube video or how to script an awesome video. So it's like, because you think that you need to be like perfect. And everyone knows like this is not a new message. Everyone knows that you don't have to be perfect. Perfection's overrated. It doesn't mean that we don't still set impossibly high standards for ourselves and torture ourselves with them.
Yeah.
And no one else cares half as much as we do.
They're not even paying attention half the time.
No.
And it might be the very reason why they do. Like there's this woman who lives here in Nashville. She does, she helps people create viral content, viral videos.
Yep.
And I was watching one of her things once and she was talking about how she'll tell people like little funky things like this to wear just one earring or like leave your fly down in a video and like see, because like people notice it and then they, you know, it's like
put something in the background that's like really weird. Yeah.
Or like if you're doing something where you open your fridge, like you have I don't know, like something weird that wouldn't belong in the fridge, a pair of tennis shoes or something sitting there. And people are like, oh my God, you know, and they tend to notice stuff like that. So it's like, it's almost like people crave imperfection right now, even though we are afraid to show it because we live in a very polished, curated world where a lot of people are showing what they want to show. And it feels like a lot of pressure to keep up.
Well, let's move this to, it's like the same sort of conversation, but the sort of definition around what being professional is. Because I think that's some of why, especially on LinkedIn, it's probably the place where I feel the most open to judgment, or the most
Oh yeah.
likely to be judged.
Yeah.
And of course, I am getting judged by my Facebook friends, family, people on Instagram, looking at pictures, looking at, put a lot of powerlifting stuff on there. Someone might be like, oh, well, that's not very heavy, like whatever, or her form's not perfect, or whatever that might be. But certainly on Instagram, professionally, we're being judged, and we want to put out content that is, right. We don't want to say something that's inaccurate. We don't want to be too controversial, just in case. We don't want to be too casual, in case we're judged for being, this isn't Facebook, it's LinkedIn, and all of those things. And honestly, right now I have this like terrible urge to do something just like weird, and like just stick Aquaman camera
Right
on
there.
my laptop, and be like, hey LinkedIn, I've got an Aquaman figure on my desk. Is that okay with you? Like, is that unprofessional? Does that make me, maybe it's a distraction from the value that I offer, but what really is the line? What is unprofessional? And also, how does imperfection come into that? Because if you've taken the time to show up live for the first time, I'm not talking about me now, because I've been live in different places and it's not like it's the first time I've shown up somewhere. But if you were just deciding that, do you know what, I really want to help people. I feel like I've got a lot of value to offer. I want to share this message with people. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to hit the go live button, and I'm going to start talking because I think I can help people. Is anyone in a professional setting going to judge you for that? And if they do, what does it say about them?
The thing I like
to encourage that, if it's honestly shared, with good intention, it's not too sort of controversial, it's not hurting anybody, but you're just sharing a perspective. You can't be unprofessional doing that unless you start, throwing swear words around, or being, deliberately trying to annoy people, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you could be doing some deliberate things that I think would be an argument for the case that maybe that's not like how you want to show up. But at the same time, I don't know. It's like, I think people deserve you showing, you as in anybody, showing up the way that you are, because then I was talking to a coach once many years ago, and or maybe it was my therapist, but they were saying same thing. It's actually manipulative. It's actually manipulative when you're showing up trying to be in a certain way, to be received in a certain way by people that you feel need to see you in a certain way. You're not allowing them to see the real you. So you're not actually allowing them the choice, the power of decision to decide whether they want to stay or go. You're kind of showing a facade, right? And in all fairness, you're probably just, putting on putting your best foot forward, whatever. But you're actually trying to manipulate the situation. And what you really owe people is the real you, so that they can decide, it's like, and not from like purposely agitate. Yes, we could talk marketing and agitation and where it all has value, but not purposely just being obscene or hurting people, but just being the real you. And when you do that, they get to decide whether they want to stick around, and if that's the right fit, or they don't.
And then you get to just, when you're showing up as someone that you're not, that, and it's not going to feel good. And if you're doing it consistently over time, at some point, that disconnect is going to cause you to kind of burn out, because you're having to just keep putting on this same mask all the time. That's exhausting. And then, to me, that's a reason why someone might burn out. They've been prolific online for a while, and you've seen them go live, and then suddenly they stop. And why do they stop? Because they can't keep up the act anymore. it's exhausted them, it's drained them, they've lost who they are, they've forgotten why they're doing this, they're not enjoying it, and they can't really pinpoint why, because, you know, people really liked it. But then as soon as they like close that laptop or whatever, they become a different person, and it's the person that a lot of people actually would rather see. So like I've been experimenting with doing some videos over the past few months. Haven't done any so much recently. And every time I watched them back, and I'd thought about them before I'd recorded them, and I'd sort of got myself a few bullet points of what I wanted to say, and I recorded it, and I look back and I'm like, it's just so boring. And that's just not who I am. And the thought of having to record one of those on a consistent basis and be like, oh, right, here we go again, and set up the iPhone on the little tripod on my desk and hit record and do my little sort of thinking point and my tip and my, you know, over to you, give it a try. I was just like, oh, this is not what I want to do. This is not me. I'm not going to keep this up. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not like a super serious person. If you met me in person, you know, I can obviously do the professional thing, but I am me, and I like to have fun, and I'm very direct, and I have a little, you know, cheeky wink every so often, like, and that's who I am. And I'm like, I'm seeing myself sat here in front of the camera, and I'm like this, and like, you know, my hair's all perfect, and then I'm like, so here's a thing I've been thinking about around personal brand lately. And I'm like, that's just, whereas I'm like, do you know what's really annoying me when I'm seeing people online? They're just like, and I'm more animated and I'm opinionated and I've got more energy. Is that not what people want? Is that not what I'm more likely to show up as? Because that's actually who I am.
Yes, because they can find your 3 steps to a more powerful brand anywhere they want. They can find your here's right, but what they can't find anywhere is your story, is your raw, is your real. And that's your essence. That's what makes you you. Like, trust me, I am note to self right now as all get out.
Yeah.
I often find myself in the middle of things and I'm like, listen to yourself. But yeah, it's like that actually is what differentiates you. There's nothing else like it. And your story, your experience is what people want to hear. We live in an information age that's a commodity.
There is no shortage of information out there. You can be on YouTube for the rest of your life and be consuming. So if you want information, you can find it wherever you want. And it's like, yeah, people might want to find information from me because they quite like the way I present it or how I speak or the style of my videos, that kind of thing. But I was thinking, I did a post the other day actually about something that Chris Do talks about. We all love Chris Do. And he talks about your 2-word brand. And one of those words is what you see as like a real positive superpower. And one is what you call your sort of shadow self, which is kind of what's maybe the yin to your yang or whatever. And I was thinking about mine, and mine was, I'm a massive overthinker. And I think, you know, a lot of us can relate to that. I think that's also
I'm the gold medal winner. I don't know if you knew that, but I have a gold medal in overthinking.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. I have a trophy. I've got medals up there. Like, it's in powerlifting, but, you know, it's different. But, you know, we've had conversations before. I know you're like this too. And the whole, the stress and the energy it takes to be an overthinker is quite a lot. So we know that it holds us back.
Yeah.
But what he gets us to do is he gets us to pair it with what we say is a more positive word. And my more positive word is defiant, which to my dad when I was growing up and I was maybe not doing what I was told was a negative thing. But actually, it's made me extremely determined to prove people wrong and not want to follow rules and, you know, keep going until something's done and, you know, lift heavier or whatever.
Yeah.
So pairing defiant with overthinker means that I will keep on digging until I find the answer, whatever it takes. And that answer could be, I will come up with a strategy or an idea, or I will make something better and better and better, and I won't stop until I will. And that's, to me, is makes it even more of a superpower when you can say, yes, but look, when I put it with this, it becomes just so much more. But the overthinking side of it, that's huge, because we do all overthink for different reasons. And like when it comes to being visible, and I'm use the example of somebody that's in real estate, because this is a world that, we're both familiar with. And there's a lot of people in real estate who are using social media like all the time for creating a very, polished reel with a new listing they have. They've got a drone taking shots from overhead. They've got great lighting. They're using fancy graphics. Some of them that you see out there are doing really funny things, like they're walking around the house and they're like making jokes about stuff, like really inappropriate ones. I actually really love those accounts. Find them really
Sitting in the
entertaining.
bathtub, like
It's like innuendo, bingo, all over the place. And I love that. But they're seeing all these polished pieces of content out there, and they're like, oh my God, I have to do that too. Oh, but how have they done it? Okay, so what this means is I need to hire a videographer, I need to hire an editor, I need to find someone who can create reels for me, I need to find someone who can post on socials. I don't have time, so I've got all this work to do, I've got appointments, I've got people to manage. And yet the expectation is that I'm going to, obviously from looking out there, everyone's creating all this polished content, so I've got to do it too. And then the overwhelm of that, they overthink it for so long that they don't actually share anything. But they're going to have to create something for the listing or whatever.
And what were you going to share? Something that made you look the same as everybody else. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this, but like what Phil says, it same as lame. So actually, what is the thing that is, and this is the scary part, because when we bring forth, there's a quote. It's like, I think it's from the Bible. If you bring forth what is within you will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you will destroy you.
Wow.
And I like to also think of it as like, here's how I'm a fire sign. So once I understood what fire, what that means to me as a person, like I'm a fire sign, I'm a fiery individual. And I love the quote or the thought and idea of like fire can create and fire can destroy. And if I'm fire, it's what am I going to use it for? It's you can use it for evil, right? And it's like that. And it reminded me of what you just said a few minutes ago, Claire, because and I love the defiant. Like, let's reframe it. Like, I'm not an overthinker. I'm just defiant. Like I'm a questioner. I'm not going to just compliantly go along with it. I'm going to defiantly put my hand up and go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever done DISC, by the way?
What's that?
DISC.
Oh yeah, the DISC profile.
Yeah. So my compliant is through the floor. Like there's nothing there. There's nothing compliant about me. If you tell me what to do, I'll go in the opposite direction. I'll decide if I'm going to be compliant, but that's because my D decides that I'm going to be compliant.
Yeah. If there's buy-in, right? Like I read a book a couple of years ago. It's by Gretchen Rubin. It's called, oh shoot, all I can think of is the 4 agreements, but it's 4 like personality types or something. And one of them is the questioner and another one is the rebel. And so when I first read the names of the 4 types, I was like, well, I'm sure I'm the rebel. Right. And then after reading it, I was like, oh gosh, I'm the questioner. Cause that's my defiant piece. That's my, I'll question it to a fault. But compliance, I'm not just going to go along with something like, I know that frustrates people, but I've got questions and I need buy-in before I'm going to, and if I believe it, it's like, I don't know the speed limit. I've not always.
And if you're compliant, don't you just become like everyone else because you're following the same rules as everyone else, and you're just doing, it's all that, adhering to societal norms and all of that kind of thing. It's like, who cares? Like, how are you going to stand out if you do that? And I'm going back to Christo just because I'm totally fangirling him right now because he actually commented on my LinkedIn post the other day, which I'm very pleased about, which is about this 2-word brand. And, he continues to say that the best way to build a personal brand is to just be different. find the thing that makes you different and just go all in on that thing.
And that's what I think brings us back to what we talked about. That's the fear, though. That's the edge, because what makes you different is what makes you unique and different, which means, oh, will this be accepted? Will this be okay?
Yeah.
Will this be liked? What will people think? Oh my gosh, because I can't blend in with blue hair because nobody else I know has blue hair. So now I'm going to stick out. And do I really want to stick out? And it's like, it reminds me a little bit of that Marianne Williams quote. Like, you're not actually afraid of I'm going to totally botch it, but it's such a good quote. It's like, you're actually afraid of what's possible, of like who you really are. And I think that that's kind of where we all live, is like, if we differentiate ourselves and we show up with what makes us different, the cheese stands alone. We have to be okay with that.
That is something that, particularly because I've been exposed to the speaking world for quite a long time, and the pressure to be polished in that sort of world is definitely high. Like, the people that I love in the speaking world are the ones that are doing something different. And, you know, examples of Clint Pulver playing the drums blindfolded on stage. Like, there's a reason why he's the best of the best.
You can't get that anywhere else. That is not a thing that is available from any other speaker. And if it would, then that would be weird, because it's Clint's thing, right?
Yeah. How many times, you know, have people been to a conference and they've had someone stand up and talk about, you know, culture motivating people, and why, you know, employee retention and all of the things that he sort of talks about, and they're just boring. And then he comes along and he's got the same message, but then he gets the drum kits out and you're like, whoa, this guy's memorable. He's different. I'm going to remember him. I never thought it could be so interesting because he brought it alive. Same with Sylvie and her like amazing visuals and almost like holograms and like all these amazing visual effects that she uses when she presents. And you're just like, wow, that is so different to, you know, the whole middle-aged white guy stood on stage in a suit talking about, you know, here's my 5-step process to whatever. And you're just like,
and here's my book.
Yeah. And I don't remember them. They didn't say anything about themselves because, well, you can't do that because I'm here to do a job. I'm here to present. So don't tell any stories. They're just presenting information because that's what you do to be professional. You wear a suit and you're professional. And I'm like, I know that's outdated. I know there are so many speakers that aren't like that. And we know Phil's not like that. He has stories. He moves around. He gets in there. He's like on his knees in the audience. He's got the pen. He sometimes gets like really excited and shouts a little bit, and he's making people laugh. And you remember that stuff because that's what makes things stick.
Yep.
If he just stood in the middle of a massive stage and told everybody all about what all the magic words were, and here are the 4 cornerstones, and here's a picture of a triangle, and just went through those and just was, I'm going to present some business information today for you to apply. Like, who's gonna care?
Well,
so you've seen from the masters of speaking what it actually takes, and yet you still see people continually show up, particularly on LinkedIn. And if they're not posting anything, which says a lot about them, but they're going and they're criticizing the people who are, and like, oh, you know, I'm not sure about this, and, you know, I think you've missed the point here, and they're just on there criticizing, and that's their only contribution. You're like, why don't you try showing up live or posting a video and showing us what you can do, instead of jumping on people who are actually making an effort? Bearing in mind, so I'm on my soapbox now, something like only 1 or 2% of people on LinkedIn are posting on a weekly basis. Like, and there are like 1 billion people on there or something. It's still wide open. You know, you are in an absolute minority if you're showing up even once a week, sharing something of value, or even sharing, you know, an event that you've been to or whatever it is.
Or you're having a great live conversation. By the way, if you're here with us, please comment. Please be part of the conversation. Let us know when things really resonate and what connects for you. Yeah.
I think so. I'm just like, just do it. Just post it. Forget about those people, because those people are probably insecure themselves. There's something in them that they're actually afraid to share their full opinions on things. So they jump onto other people's posts with their opinions. And what that does, it stops good people showing up because they're putting them off. And that's why, you know, the people who should be visible, so many of them aren't. And sometimes it's because of the people that, bring them down when they do, and they're like, oh, okay, well, it's obviously a stupid idea because this person criticized me and I'm not doing it again. And they hide again.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sure we can both think of people that we know who are like, this person is brilliant. If only the world could see more of them in their own imperfect, beautiful way,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be I wish I could remember her name. I think her first name's Leah, but I can't remember her last name. And she's moved away from it a little bit now, but for quite a number of years, she was a LinkedIn expert and she worked with corporates. She is covered in tattoos. And she is her style of communication is very direct. Yet she did fantastically well as a LinkedIn expert and coach and trainer. Well, someone might say, oh, no, she's not professional. Well, why did she stand out on LinkedIn? Because she was willing to be who she is in a place that does not expect somebody like her.
Yeah.
And, I have my tiny rebellions. So we're going back to the defiant thing again. And one of my tiny rebellions, in particular when it comes to my dad, and he knows this, is my hair, right? So I have professional side, and then I have the side that my dad doesn't like, which gets buzz cut every couple of weeks. And I really love my hair. Like, I like that I have that edge to me. And I probably wouldn't take it any further. I'm never going to completely shave my head or dye my hair green or like pierce everything. But I have my little personality, like visual personality quirks. Like, the way that I look is not conventional. I've not got long straight hair. I don't wear suits. You'll very rarely see me in a skirt or high heels. You'll see me in trousers and Doc Marten boots. And that's just how I am. And that's how I'll continue to be. I don't want to have to put a uniform on. And if I do, I want it to be in my style. And to me, that just makes sense. Like, why would you be a completely different person in every setting? And I do believe in having different personas. Mm-hmm. But those personas should always have elements of your personality. It's still you, but you're sort of, this is still me, but I'm showing up in this setting. So this part of it's a little bit different. Just mirroring the people who are in that situation. So everyone's sort of kind of comfortable. But you can still wear a suit and wear Doc Marten boots, or you can still have tattoos and wear something smart for the office. Like, there's still elements there. And the other thing about visibility is like, it's showing up as yourself, as you look, not putting on a physical, like, not mask, but what's wrong with that? I'm not saying you show up in your pajamas, but if it works.
I think the thing, show up in your pajamas too. Like, I think the thing that I keep learning again and again is it is okay. And it's not going to be okay for some people.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with it not being okay for the people that it's not okay with, and not give a shit and compromise who we are for the people that aren't okay with it, because they're never going to be any different. They're never going to believe any different. And that's okay, because people get to be wrong about us. That's what I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You don't all have to like me, but you get to be wrong about me.
Yeah. And it's like you said, the people get to self-select. But the people who love you will love you even more. The more you are, the more your people will love you. And it's like, if the content that you're posting, for example, where you're sharing, what you're sharing value with the people that you can help the most, and you're sharing it for just a group of 20 people. But those people love you and they love hearing from you. You write it for those people. You're not writing it for everybody to accept you. You're writing it for those people who are like, do you know what? We know and love you, Nicole, and we know who you are. We know that you're an overthinker. We know you've got all these stories. We know that you love your dog. Like, we know who you are, and we love you for it. And we love the way that you share things, and we look for it, and we celebrate you, and all of that. I mean, that, and you can genuinely also not just have them saying, hey, you're amazing, but you can help those people. And you know that what you're sharing is a value to them. I think that we've had a comment, just post it, what I should write on my wall for those days of doubt. Like, if you just had that on a post-it, just post it.
Post it.
Like, just hit post.
Let it rip. Let it rip. That's what my therapist Kevin always used to say to me. He's like, just here's what he said. I hope that everybody finds the same humor in this that I did. I was torn up. I was stuck in my head. I was being all defiant about posting and saying things online. And what if it's received this way? Or what if they look at me this way? I don't know. Like, I'm afraid. And he's like, Nick, just let it rip. Nobody's reading your shit anyways.
We've all had the,
laughing like uncontrollably. I'm like, you're right. Nobody's reading it anyways. Who? Oh my gosh.
What does it matter?
What does it matter?
But one person might see it and they might not even comment. And it might take months for them to come back to you and say, do you know, there was a post you did a few months ago and I've been thinking about it ever since. And I've been meaning to come back to you. And then they could become a client, or a great referrer or whatever. You just don't know. And that the time that you post it, that just post it, that moment that you post it could be the moment that someone goes on LinkedIn, just scrolling or whatever, they see your post and that just flicks a switch.
Yeah.
It just changes everything for them. Like, you've got to be thinking that could happen. And that, no one might be reading.
I had a conversation.
Another comment. Can we get that on? About a lip piercing. Many years ago, I was suggested by my employer to remove my lip piercing before an interview for my next employer. And no, I didn't remove it. And if I wasn't selected for that, that's good. I wouldn't have worked there if that was the issue.
Love it.
Absolutely. Like, that if they'd said something or if you'd taken it out, could you have never put it back in when you went to work there and just never been fully yourself the whole time? And you get home and you hope that your piercing hasn't closed up while you've had it out for the day. And but it just says so much that if they're that judgmental and picky, it's not the place for you. And it's the same with your audience. If your audience are judging you and they're picking at you, it's like, okay, see ya. I'm going to go find some people that actually appreciate it. Unless you have specifically said, the people that I know I can help is this group of people. I'm committed that I want to help them and I will show up in a way that is going to be most of service to them. And and love those people, but you also know, do you know what? They actually really hate and are really offended by piercings. So I'm going to make the decision that in order to achieve what I want and help the people that I want to help, I'm going to make that choice. But when it's someone telling you to do that in order to be accepted, that's different. So if it's to achieve a goal, you get to decide what's most important.
I mean, to me, as I'm listening from a sales coach lens, I'm like, that is the epitome of what a sale is. It's not telling somebody what to do. It's helping them make a decision that is best for them, helping them find clarity. And so I think it's the same thing. It's like this have to, need to, obligated to, like, we've got to stop putting that on ourselves. And I think the last thing in the title of this, the power of showing up to serve, it's like, if you make it about that, and this kind of ties into what you were saying, if you make it like a specific goal or intention of like, okay, why am I showing up? And I think this is really important to connect before. We're only talking about going live right now in this moment, but like in general, however you're showing up, right? Whether it's a blog or you go live on YouTube or whatever, it's like, why am I doing this? I think no matter what, we should always have intentionality with any action that we take. Why am I doing this and who am I doing it for? And if you reconnect with who you're doing it for, then you are going to show up to serve. But what happens so often is people give too much thought and time and attention to the people who don't need them. And if you're so focused on the people who don't need you and don't care about your message and won't like your message anyways, you're actually alienating the very people that you claim to care about, that you claim to want to do this for.
Yeah.
And to me, your focus is your faith. There are always going to be people, again, this is a note to self. There are always going to be people who don't like you and don't like how you show up and don't like how you present things. The good news is there are plenty of other people that do similar things that you do, and they can go find somebody else who does it. But the people that want it done the way that you do it deserve to know exactly who you are and how you do it, because there's somebody out there that needs it exactly the way that you do it as you are.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to go
It
write that down.
reminds me.
I'm going to post it on my bathroom mirror so I reread it every single day.
Good. It reminds me of a story. I have a story about being at school, which I think many of us can relate to, and it's a bit like Mean Girls, if you know the storyline of Mean Girls. And we've all had Mean Girls like that. You can't sit with us. This is our table. And when I was at school, I was like 13, and I wanted to hang out with the cool kids. Don't we all? And so I changed my appearance so that I fit in, which unfortunately meant I permed my hair, which, it was 1994. Like,
Those
this was a different time. I got like really short skirt. That the trend at the time was to have like knee-length white socks, but you'd like fold them down like in pleats, so sort of halfway up your leg, and platform shoes and stuff like that, so that I would be accepted in that group of like the cool kids. But when I was with them, I was like, first of all, you realize that they're really boring to hang out with, because the boys are just trying to show off, and the girls are just,
sitting around with their old socks.
Yeah. And they're like, it wasn't cool to be smart. I'm just like, how is that not cool? And I would look kind of enviously over at another group that I was like, I wish I could hang out with them, because they like the sort of music I like. They're smart, so we'd have more to talk about. But I stayed with that group, and I think that group didn't care about me. And I changed myself for them to like me, when I could have just been hanging out and being, making really good friends and being a really good part of another group that was actually more for me. And that makes me think of, like, if you put all your energy in showing up to prove people wrong, to fight your corner, to say, well, I'm right, like to prove people wrong, and then you're over here trying to do that, and then you're missing the point, which is serving, giving value to the people who you can help the most.
Yeah.
And you can only know that from sort of looking back. It's like, oh, we liked your stuff, but it seemed like you were really angry at somebody, and what we loved hearing from you was this, but we didn't get it.
Yeah. How awful would that be to know that to me, it's like, I'd rather be rejected for who I am than chosen for who I'm not, because I think not that I'm not still learning that all the time, because it can be, again, going back to the very first thing we talked about with LinkedIn, it can feel like there's a lot of pressure to be a certain way. Otherwise, what's the fear, right? Is it rejection? Even I had a speaking event yesterday, and I was talking to a very high achieving individual, and he's done a lot in his life. And he was just looking at some different ways to show up and create visibility for himself. And he said, where do you draw the line between sharing something that is potentially like vulnerable and transparent in like a mistake, or something that was, you're not necessarily proud of, but like you learned a lot from, and where does that start to impact somebody's belief in your ability to help them? Or right, like at what point does that shift from, oh, this guy can help me, he's like me, he's got the same challenges as me, to, oh, that guy's a screw up, like he can't help me at all, And I think that's part of the fear that we all have with visibility and imperfection, because it's like, what are people going to think, that I'm not capable of helping them? And he's like, what would you say to that? And I said, well, the analogy that pops in my mind is, if I have a choice, I'm getting on a flight right now, and my choice of who I'm going to fly with is a pilot who's never been in an accident, never crashed a plane, or Sully, the pilot who crashed the plane and everybody survived. Now, if you first ask, like, would you want to fly with a pilot who's never been in a crash, or a pilot who's been in a crash? I'm choosing the pilot every single time that's been in the crash, because he or she has seen worst case scenario and survived. So if someone's been there and they've been through it and they figured out their way out of it, isn't that more relatable than somebody who's never been through it? It's like, you have a little bit of a question of like, well, we talk a lot, Claire, in the exactly what to say world, about the show me that you know me button. How can you show with somebody that you really know them unless you can reveal that you have been through the same challenges that they've been through, because then that's when they go, oh, you get me, you know me,
Yeah.
you understand me, you've been through it. And while on one hand it can feel like a revealing vulnerability that could hurt us, what's personal is universal.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually the thing that, unites people, that lets people know
Yeah.
we get them, we understand them.
I've felt so much more connected to people when they've just not dropped the act, but just dropped their guard and told a really vulnerable story and revealed some emotion. And I'm like, that just makes me trust them even more. It makes them more relatable. And as long as they're not still in it, I think that's another thing, is when people are like, I'm just being authentic and I'm just showing what's really happening in my life. And they're sharing a struggle while they're in the struggle, or while they're like, deep in it and they haven't started coming out of it yet, or they don't know what they're going to do, or they don't have a solution yet.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot teach people from in that place,
Yeah.
because you're still dealing with it yourself and you don't have a solution. If you've
Yeah.
had a struggle, the only way to share that, or the only reason to share that as a story, is as a reflection and a lesson and something of value that you can give to people, where you can say, I've been perhaps where you are, and this is my story. This is how I got out of it, and this is where I am now, so that you can have hope that you can do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think,
then there's the trust, and there's the belief, okay, oh, you can help me. But if someone says, I'm having a really terrible time and I just wanted to show up in an authentic way and share with you how I'm feeling right now, and life's really hard and blah, 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 and they're like, oh, I'm really sorry, like, I hope you feel better soon. And then they're sort of, I can't work with you, like, you're not someone I can hire. Like, how can I believe that, if I work with you on a 6-week coaching program, that you're going to show up every time? Because are you not just like, isn't life just a little bit like this right now? And there's a line between, you want to have empathy and sympathy for people, but you have to also think, are they actually capable of delivering at this time? I think that's quite, I've kind of segued into a slightly different topic here, but there is that fine line between sharing your struggles, either, as a reflection or lesson, but not when you're in it, because you just
yeah,
have to deal with it.
I think you're in the messiness of it. I could see certain benefits to sharing where you're at or what you're going through, and maybe not needing to be on the other side, but not also coming from a place of, I'm a complete mess, I'm a complete disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I think the nature of suffering is that you're naturally self-obsessed. Like, that's like what we're human beings. Our bodies are like, we're meant to help ourselves feel better if we aren't feeling well in whatever area that is. So we're naturally going to be like, you're going to question somebody's ability to show up for you if you feel like they are in some level of needing to show up more for themselves. And so I think that
Yes.
there's a little bit of like, again, when you're suffering, you're naturally self-obsessed. Well, duh. Like, if you're hungry, you're thinking about food, and your body's like, oh my God, get us food, get us food. We don't want to die. You can't, there's a saying that one of my favorite spiritual teachers says, like, you can't get mad enough to help mad people. You can't get sad enough to help sad people. You can't get hungry enough to help hungry people. The only place that you can really help someone else is from a place of being full of being fully taken care of, fully resourced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the same time, at any given point, we are human beings, we are complex individuals, and we are always all going to be going through something. I think just the thing that you're going through should probably not be the thing that you're helping others go through, because you're both
Yeah.
at the same time,
Not until you're out of it and you have something to teach from it. And then there's the other,
just a couple steps ahead, so you have some clarity on, like, I'm leading the way. I've been there and I'm not there anymore, so I'll help you get at least a little bit further. But
well, it's like Rory Vaden. He says, you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
Yeah.
And that could be just 1 or 2 steps behind where you are now.
Yeah.
So as long as you're ahead in some way, or more experienced, or have more to share, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're behind and your needs aren't met, and you're on step 1 of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're not yet at security. You're still meeting your basic needs, and it's like, stay there. Like, don't feel like you need to show up and do your daily life if you're feeling awful and you've got a lot to deal with, because that energy, like, it sounds really, don't want to sound harsh, but you don't want to just give that energy to everybody else, because that's not serving. That's like, that's you just
Being a martyr.
convincing yourself, well, I have to show up regardless. Well, actually you don't, because some days you would serve people better by saying, hey, I'm not going live today, but I just wanted to write this for you, or I found an art. Like, you can still share some value. You could share an article, you could share it, you could say, hey, I'm just going to share a piece I wrote a while ago, or I listened to this great
repurpose your past videos. You can still show up as right? Like, you can still be talking. Yeah, there's so much content.
And then get back under the blanket and put Netflix back on and do what you need to do. But don't think that you need to show up like as imperfectly as that. You don't have to. You have to be able to be consistent and be human. And that's something that I've been thinking a lot about, is how many people I've seen who are very public figures with very big YouTube channels disappear for like months up to a year because they burnt out, because they created this thing that got so successful so quickly that the pressure to keep doing it and keep showing up and keep launching and being successful, and then showing up to serve all the masses of mastermind members they have now, and serve and all of the team they've hired to scale, and this thing that there's created so fast that's overwhelmed them. They've forgotten why they started in the first place. It's taken over their life. They have no time off, and they're like, nope. And one day they turn around and they basically lay off their whole team. They shut down their mastermind and they go off a month. Vanessa Lau was someone that did this, and I used to watch her. She's back now. She talks a lot about YouTube and building a YouTube channel, which is ironic. But she took, I think it was 7 or 8 months completely off all socials, like completely. She was focusing on her health, on sleep, on being with family, on cooking, like just living life, because she just built something that she just couldn't deal with anymore.
Yeah.
And she burned it all down. And this burnout thing is that expectation, not necessarily of perfection, but of just having to show up, of being beholden to the thing that you've created. It now owns you. Yeah. Whereas, and that's why I'm sort of saying to people, you can look back to the real estate example. You can look at the people that seem to be posting reels all the time, and you can think they've probably got this video team behind them. They've got all these resources. They can do that. And you can think, but I have to do that. If I want to be successful, that's what I need to do. And it's like, but does that actually fit with you and your life? Can you see yourself creating something like that as often as they are? And if you can't, what happens when you do it for a while? You're going to burn out and you're going to resent it. And that's why you need, like, not just, I'm only ever going to show up and talk about sales. But what if you also, in the mix, had, sometimes you talk about sales. Sometimes you talk about productivity, as, it's a skill that you're developing to support yourself and they might find useful, still serve the same audience. But also you like to talk about, you like to create videos where you're on a walk with Cassie and you're just reflecting in nature about some stuff, and like you're just talking about what you do in your sort of spare time and your thoughts, and then another one might be that you talk about fitness and how that helps you to be even better in your work, and you're sort of linking it all together. But instead of having to show up every day I've got to do a live and I've got to talk about some really insightful sales strategy. Well, first of all, your audience will probably get bored because they're like, okay, that's great. It's like good to have that consistency, but where's Nicole?
Right.
And then they're like, oh, you've got a dog. And you know that having Cassie knocking over your stuff before you went live was an absolute gift, because dog people, they see a dog, they're like, and then their voice changes and they put their doggy voice on, it like goes a little bit high pitched and the baby talk starts. You can switch. They don't respect you any less as a sales coach. They just see another side of you and you're like, oh, I've got permission to talk about that. So when I feel like I've kind of become a bit tired of or burnt out from, talking about sales, I can switch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so I'm switching into Cassie mode now, or I'm switching into walks in nature, or I'm switching to, hey, come with me as I go on a night out in Nashville and see all the music that's going on, and like a bit more of you and your existence, so they can see, oh, there's a human, but you get to be different aspects of the same human at the same
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
without looking like, well, why is she sharing that when she's supposed to be this? It's
Right.
like, why not just share who you are?
Yeah.
Why not just share Nicole? I can be of value to you, but also, if you like dogs, you're going to like this too. And hey, just thought I'd bring you with me on a conference in a new city.
Yeah.
And you do a vlog.
Yeah.
Is that not more fun for everybody? Like for you to create?
It's, I think, the way of what the future is. I think that's what a personal brand is that you've just described. It's you being not just a thought leader in your area of expertise, but a leader in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think my platform over the last couple of years has really shifted to sales being self-leadership. Selling is serving, and that's still a big piece for me.
Yeah.
But I've started to really understand the holistic piece of all of it differently, where it really is self-leadership. It's how you lead yourself through things. And you can only take people as far as you've gone yourself.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting conversation that we also had yesterday at my event that I was at, because I said that. I said, you can only take people as far as you've gone yourself. And the one guy was like, well, I don't know if I agree with that, because I don't know that you have to have done the exact same thing. And I said, I agree with you. And the first example that pops in my mind is that Tom Brady's quarterback coach did not win 7 Super Bowls. Tom Brady did.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means to me is not that we can help people with something that we haven't done necessarily, but that we don't have to have done that exact thing. What we do have to have done is be able to lead ourselves and navigate challenging situations so that we can help others navigate their challenging situations on the way to where they're going. Not because we've necessarily done. Now, I don't think you should start a sales page that says I help people grow $100 million businesses. Unless you have proof that you have been able to help someone do that. Not proof.
Yeah, at least once.
Random example, but I do. Yeah, I mean,
you have to be able to show you don't necessarily have to have done it yourself.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
If you have helped someone else do it, or you have worked with someone who has gone from one place to another, and you've seen that happen, and and you've been a part of it, I think that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's kind of the essence of what we're really doing when we're helping people. We're not helping them necessarily do the thing. We're helping them become the version of themselves that does the thing. And we want to help somebody step into that version of themselves, whether it's because you hold the space, because you believe in it and you see it. Like I believe that a big part of the work I do is I'm a seer. Because I've seen what's been possible with what I've been able to create. And now I'm like, I'm not available for anybody note to self too, for anybody not believing in themselves at the level of potential that they have and being able to step into that. And does that mean I hold that space as they're learning how to build that muscle to believe in themselves? Does that mean I have some techniques or some things that I can teach them of how to become more of that version of themselves? But I really don't think anybody's doing anything different. We're all just helping somebody become more of the version of themselves that they want to be in this life through whatever vehicle we use to do that, whether it's sales or marketing or mindset or whatever the thing is that you do. It's like, no, I'm just helping you become more of the actual real you.
Do you know, if I was to sum up this conversation from everything that we said into even one word, that word would be care. As long as you just care about people, care about the message, care about them achieving something.
Care about yourself.
Yeah, but as long as you care, does it matter what you look like? Does it matter whether you throw in a swear word every so often? Does it matter? As long as you are showing the people that you care about, that you care about what they care about, but also that you're caring about them and what they want to achieve, and you care about the information you're sharing, and you want them to understand it, and you want them to achieve something with it, and you want to share a message, it just comes down to just, well, giving a shit.
Yeah, I care enough about you to not have to experience what I experienced, because I bet you're a bit like me and you've experienced the same thing. And I care too much about you to not let you know what I've learned along the way. And if that resonates with you, then let's walk this path together and I'll hold your hand. And if not,
and I care about this message enough to share it imperfectly.
Yeah, I think that, and it really comes down to like, what is your level of, I guess, ability to navigate that edge, because it's going to come up. Like I said at the beginning, sure, I've been going live since 2018. It was a struggle in 2018. I actually had a thing called Every Day in May, because I really was not at all showing up live. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a challenge for myself, and I'm going to do Every Day in May, and I'm going to challenge anybody else who wants to be a part of it. So I did go live every single day in May. And then I was just so sporadic after that. But I think, even like I said earlier, it's still not an edge every time I go live. It's just become less of one. And I think that's what we're all doing for ourselves, which in turn, I don't think a good leader is someone who knows how to lead others. I think a good leader is someone who knows how to lead themselves. And people don't ever do what you say. People do what you do. So the ultimate way to really show up, if you really care about people, is to care enough about yourself and how you conduct yourself, and show people what's possible for them, because that's how they'll really see it.
Yes.
Should I go take notes of our conversation?
I think we need to run this through Fathom or something, and just pull out the cliff notes and just read them every day. Yeah.
I think that would be wise. I would love to hear if anybody was here with us, or you're watching it on the replay. Please say hello live, hello replay, wherever you're watching. We're glad that you've been a part of the conversation. We would love to hear more of your input. If you want to share anything with us in the comments, because I think this is something that thoughts grow stronger when shared. We all learn, especially when we have facilitated conversations like this, where we realize, oh, it's not just me that tries to talk myself out of going live. Okay. Or, oh, it is an opportunity to differentiate myself and be the weirdo that I am. It's like, let your freak flag fly, right? That's kind of thing. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Being me is my biggest opportunity in life.
See, we have already got someone asking for notes. This comment. I wish I could see who it was. It only shows us LinkedIn user, but I'm going to dive into the comments when I can go find them, and I'm going to keep the conversation going.
We'll find out who you are, LinkedIn user. I have a feeling it might be one of our guide friends. I just feel like, well, I don't know. Welcome, whoever you are, whoever's commenting. We're glad you've been a part of this. And if you're watching us on the replay later on, let us know what other topics you might. I think Claire's having fun going live, so I have a feeling that.
Always up for a chat. I miss having a podcast, to be honest. So this is like the in between for me. But it's been great to chat. And, you know, just for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Claire Dowdall. I'm director of brand for Exactly What to Say. Nicole is sales conversation coach extraordinaire, and also Exactly What to Say certified guide. And we just love to chat, and to be able to just do it live with everyone else is cool. But this has been really valuable for me. It helps me sort of think out loud. That's how I like to think and find new ways of looking at things. And to be able to do it with you live now, me in the UK, you in Nashville, it's cool.
I'm going to guess that I'm a storyteller. Who did I just tell that they were a storyteller? I don't know. Now I'm really curious to see.
We'll find out.
We're going to go find you. This has been great. I'm glad that you were here. For those of you that were here for part of the conversation with us, we'll come up with some fun topics, maybe to do another live again soon. If you have any requests, let us know. And Claire and I are a lot like you, and wanted to have a fun conversation where we could kind of share like visibility, imperfection, scruffy hospitality, whatever you want to call it. I think that's our big invitation for all of us in life, is how can we show up as more of the truest, most real version of ourselves.
Beautiful.
Amazing. All right, everybody. Well, we'll see you all again soon. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.